866. That's 877-4-ALLEN. And I am Barry Weintraub. Very thankful and grateful to be sitting in for Alan Combs this evening on his wonderful radio show, dealing with Harry and Josh out here in the studio, always helping out and running great shows. My phone contract's been up for a while, and forgive me for switching gears, but my next guest is David Edelson, who is a computer whiz. David, are you on the line?
Yes, I'm on the phone. Good evening, Barry.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Very
so
good.
I want to tell this a little preamble of what's going on here, and I'll give you the preamble too. You are a computer wizard. I don't want to make you blush on radio, but David is the kind of guy everybody wishes they knew, because if he's nearby and you're having a problem with any device or your computer or the internet, if your hard drive crashes, usually you don't know what to do. But if you know David, and David, actually, you've gone into business now with Wyckoff Computing. This man, computers. I apologize, but you have the ability to rescue what most people would say is completely lost data on a hard drive that's crashed or was erased. I mean, you understand a lot of issues about technology, telecommunications, and the bigger picture. You also understand the corporate world. So, with that preamble, just a quick story. My contract was up. I studied phones for a long time. I've always been a Mac computer guy. My previous phone was an HTC Evo, which was an Android. When I got that phone, my service did not offer the iPhone, so it was the first smartphone I had. It frustrated me for a couple of days, but I kept it for over 3.5 years, which I think is pretty long for a smartphone or any phone these days. And then it just stopped working. The battery was glitchy, and the charging port fell off the motherboard. I had to get a phone. So I decided to go Apple, David, which I'd never been before, thinking that my Apple phone would communicate better with my Apple computer. And I found that it didn't. And in getting it set up, I started to become very aware that Apple and Google, the two major players in the phone world today and in technology today, basically, in an effort to make money, seem to be stealing my privacy.
Right. Well, it's not only that they want to make money, they also tell you that it's also to enhance your experience. So, I mean, there is some benefits to it, because it does allow you to get the content that, it makes it easier for you to pick out the things that you would like to do on the phone. So they will track what you do. They will see what apps you download, and they will, market you accordingly.
Well, here's what I found. With my old phone, I took a bunch of pictures, and I always wanted to back them up. Now, originally, I would just plug the cable from the old phone into the computer and do it that way. But as I said, somewhere along the line, the jack separated from the motherboard. And that's when I discovered I could easily Bluetooth my pictures from my Evo phone over to my computer, and I've got an archive of all of the pictures I ever took, safely kept. When I got my iPhone, I turned on the Bluetooth, and the computer recognized the phone, but it wouldn't trade the pictures. So I got on Apple support, and they just wrote to me, well, it was never designed to do that. They want me to have my picture go up to their server, David, and sit on their server for 30 days, and they're selling it to me as a convenience. You snap it here, it's on all your devices. But you told me they own that.
Right. Well, what happens is they have a product called the iCloud, and each person and each phone and each computer, are connected through the iCloud. So if you take a picture on your phone, it's able to be shared through all the devices seamlessly. So if something did happen to your phone and your pictures are on it, if you're uploading your pictures to the iCloud, then your pictures will still be there. And you can do the same with data and documents and things like that. And if you read the end-user license agreement, they pretty much, could do a lot of things with your data. Because remember, all the data that you give to websites, to phone companies, data is a commodity nowadays that's bought and sold. So the more data that companies can get, the better they could, it's a commodity that they could sell and, to other companies.
Well, it's more than data. To me, and David Edelson is my guest, and he is the mastermind behind Wyckoff Computers, but it's more than data, it's your privacy. And that's what kind of blows me away here is that I'm a super paranoid person, but the NSA doesn't scare me as much as Apple and Google.
Right.
it's the operating systems is a completely different story. I actually find that I prefer the Android system because I could use widgets and have a full page for my calendar and see all of my favorite people that I dial every day and get right to them. That's a different discussion. But at the end of the day, they both are selling you on this concept of ease of use and convenience. But what they're really doing, is getting you hooked on using their servers instead of your own hard drive. And as you explained to me, where Google's concerned, if I have pictures up there, right, they could use them for ads.
Yes, they can. Well, that's like with any service that's free. It really isn't free. They're getting something from you, and you're getting something from them. And because you're not paying for your service for Google and the Google apps and the Google documents and all the other services that Google provides, they can even store the map locations that you look up. So you're providing them with data, and you're getting the services for free. And yes, actually, with online safety, and I explain this to a lot of people nowadays, is that you almost have to treat anything that you do as if it's a billboard in your town. Because everything you do online, everything you post pretty much can almost be sent out there, and it's there for everyone to see. A lot of the data, they say, is being captured, and it's anonymous, so they don't really know who you are. They're just capturing the things that you do. But,
Can I believe that? Can I believe that? I mean, I don't believe it. I really don't believe if you talk to Siri, that, it only works if you have a connection, and it's going to their computer in Cupertino. They know it's my phone. They've got the phone. Can I trust that this stuff is anonymous?
No, you cannot trust that it's anonymous because every device basically has an IP address. An IP address can be tracked. And remember, everything that you do is it is tracked and it is stored. And because, data is stored now, and because it's not so much graphics as it is just text and locations, you can store massive amounts of data now. So when they say that everything going across the Internet, every phone call is being tracked, they pretty much have the capabilities to do that. How much they're going to let you know that they have really is, I don't think they'll ever tell you.
All right, David Edelson is my guest. He runs an operation called Wyckoff Computers, which you can find on Facebook. But I want to hold you through this break because there's a lot more about violation of privacy and what these companies are doing with it and what they might or might not be doing to so-called protect us. So if you can, hang in there. 877-367-2526. Hey, you got a computer problem, you could ask David. I'm Barry Weintraub, in for Alan Combs.
On your radio every night, online all the time. AlanCombsRadio.com. It's Alan Combs.
Eight 877-367-2526. That's 877-4-ALAN, and I am Barry Weintraub. I don't know why I stumbled on my own name. I guess it's just that kind of night. Barry Weintraub in for Alan Combs this evening, and I thank the producers of the show for letting me sit in. On the phone with me is David Edelson, who is a computer genius, if I may throw that term around liberally. David, thanks for hanging through the break. I'm just suddenly fixated on our lack of privacy and the way that we're giving it up through our use of phones. And I don't even use Twitter. I've stopped using Facebook, but these are other avenues. As a matter of fact, I think the reason that this Snapchat is so big is because you could send things and it disappears right away, although I wonder if it's still sitting on their server. Are you familiar with that story? These kids turned down $3 billion. It was on the front page of the New York Times today.
Well, that's because they say they had some better offers.
No, they're waiting for better offers.
They're waiting for better offers.
And, this is Schadenfreude, and it's I want to see them not make a dime on this now. Because when you turn down $3 billion, you are a greedy little punk. I'm sorry. Especially, David, in this day and age, someone else is going to come up with a similar technology and undercut their market, no?
Yes, there's always going to be something bigger and better that comes out. But yeah, I'm very familiar with Snapchat, and it seems like a good program. But don't forget, you can always do a screen capture of something, and that's what the kids forget, is that if somebody sends a picture and it's supposed to disappear in, 5, 10, 15 seconds, you can just hit two buttons on your phone and take a screen capture of the picture.
And there it is. Okay.
And there it is. So with the kids, I really, do stress. And believe it or not, they're actually starting to learn that what they post online and their privacy, it can be used against them when you see these bullying cases. So I think, I have a couple of young kids, and I'm actually seeing them a little bit more protective about what they post online.
Well, bullying cases is one example. My mind was going towards a piece in the New York Times last Sunday, and this is not new, but how college admissions are hunting kids down and checking their Twitter feeds and checking their Facebook. And there was the anecdotal story of a girl who was in she was in an orientation, and she was live tweeting negative comments, and they were capturing her live tweets. They claim she didn't cut it, academically anyhow, but they were shocked that someone would sit there and publicly denigrate the organization she's trying to get into. But let me go back to my paranoia, and there's no shortage of my paranoia. Okay. But here's the other thing that I had a lot of problems when I switched over to the iPhone with my calendar. This was the other. I thought what I didn't know all along was I could have kept my Google Calendar updated on my Mac computer. I didn't know that. I only discovered that when my Apple Calendar got wiped off my computer when I tried to sync them. Part of it went up to the iCloud. All of it went over to the iPhone. Mm-hmm. And then I had to find a way to get what was on the iPhone back into a useful manner. I was lucky that I had a backup. So I figured out a way. I had to actually hand write what was on the iPhone, and then what I had backed up from a couple of months earlier covered it. But what I learned here, again, is now the convenience of your calendar is ultimately to keep it on the cloud. And David, not that you're ever going to face an investigation by the feds, mm-hmm. but what is the first thing anybody investigating you wants is your calendar.
Yes.
And if your calendar is on your computer in your home, mm-hmm. they require a search warrant to get that.
Right.
If it's up on the cloud,
well, actually, I believe in some cases they don't even have to contact you. They could just contact your internet service provider.
Correct, if it's up on the cloud.
Yeah, and they could get your information that way, and that's starting to happen more and more in cases. But, you really have to be careful what you put on there. Like I said, it is shared. It is data that's stored, and because it's a free service that you're not paying for, they get something out. They have to get something out of it as well.
Right. So there's no free lunch, and you're getting a service for free, but you're giving up certain freedoms.
Yes, that's absolutely correct.
Now let me ask you this: in discussions with you, you told me that at night you will turn off your Wi-Fi.
Yes.
Why?
Well, a couple of reasons. I have a lot of computers and devices around the house, and one day I was walking by the router, and it was late at night, and I knew everyone was asleep, but I saw the activity lights flashing like crazy. So I'm like, what's going on here? That these computers, are they sending out information? Are they receiving information? Did my computers get hijacked? And a really sad story nowadays that's happening is that people are leaving their laptops open, and people are actually hacking into their laptops and computers and activating their webcams and turning on the webcams and you wouldn't know that you're being watched at night.
Wouldn't the light go on your computer if the webcam is on?
No, if you notice, a lot of them don't have lights.
Oh, okay. I mean, I got what I didn't realize was an old Mac. That was the other thing. I took I bought it because it was trailing edge technology. It's 18 months old, and the guy looked at me like, well, if you're going to use that dinosaur, how could you expect it to work?
Right.
Because it's almost 2 years old. Right. Now, also, when you use web browsers, many will, unknowing to me, they're going to send my information to 30 or 40 different places too, right?
Yeah, most websites, will send your information to, some of the bigger websites. They may, of course, deals are made, between websites on how they handle information. Because if you ever notice, sometimes if you go to a shopping website and then you'll go to, say, a news website, the products that you just looked at on the shopping website are now appearing on your news website in certain panels.
Right. I've given up on trying to, go in and have that erased. Theoretically, there is a way to clear that cache, right?
Yes, that would be if you're using Safari, you go in and you just remove all settings. You remove your history, you remove your cookies, you remove your cache, and you'll notice then if you refresh your browser, everything will come up as a default type of advertisement. So all that target marketing is constantly going on between websites.
And that's just from being on the browser, right? So, like, someone asks me to look something up for them at Amazon, and for the next 3 weeks, I keep getting shown that product, which I didn't even have an interest in.
Right. You had a cookie dropped on your computer in your browser, and now it knows to push these advertisements to your computer.
All right. So tell me, what can we do to put up our own little firewalls to protect ourselves?
Well, you definitely have to make sure, if you're on a Windows machine, you definitely have to make sure that you have antivirus. You have to make sure that you have some sort of firewall. And you have to, just realize that you should clean out your cache every now and then. And there's a lot of free programs out there that people can use that, they could take care of all this stuff themselves and not have to worry about, all the viruses that are associated with it. Because once you get a virus, and, a lot of these websites and pop-ups are very tricky. They'll say your computer is infected, click here to download this free software, and that's actually the virus.
That's the virus, right? You never want to open up an email and click on a link in an email that you don't know what it is.
Right. You never click on any links, and you have to be very paranoid when you have things pop up. If you get solicitations from something that you don't even know about, don't even open it. Just delete it from your email and empty the trash bin, and delete everything that you don't think is kosher, so to speak.
Talking with David Edelson, Wyckoff Computers. You can find him on Facebook. Is it folklore, or is it true that the Apple OS is less susceptible to these viruses? Is that still true, or is that not true anymore?
I still actually believe it's true. I've worked with a lot of Apples over the years, and they seem to have a lot less viruses and computer problems like that. When they do have problems, they're bad problems. But generally, they're pretty good about, not opening up their software so other people can, add on things to it. So they keep it a closed environment. Windows is a little more open, but, there are great antivirus programs out there that you can go to.
All right. Well, look, David, I appreciate you speaking with me. I mean, this issue especially the privacy issue, as I get deeper into my phone nightmare, because I don't like my phone and I'm committed to it, and I'm trying to find ways to get another one. But I'm just discovering that in ways, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. They're telling me I'm getting something for free, but I don't know how much I'm giving up. And I think young people really don't appreciate privacy anymore. So,
well, before we go, though,
we got 30 seconds.
I also would like to mention location services that your phone has,
right?
Where you are tracked by your location, and also
which you can turn off.
Yeah, you have to go and turn a lot of things off, because even nowadays, when you take a picture on your iPhone or
it tells people where you were.
It geotags your picture, and it shows the exact location. So if you take a picture of your, kids in the backyard of your house, and it's geotagged, people know exactly where you are.
David Edelson, thank you so much. We're going to leave it right there. Check him out on Facebook at Wyckoff Computers. I am Barry Weintraub. I'm in for Alan Combs. In the next hour, we are going to talk a little bit more about the Obamacare situation, and we got a great guest in the next hour, comedy legend Joe Lau.